Hi, Mary Richards.
Hi, Leslie Lasater.
Today's anatomy question. We want to talk about this cue, this idea we hear in yoga classes all the time, especially in Trikonasana, to bring your body between two imaginary planes of glass. So, experientialanatomy.yoga is our new digital movement literacy course that's coming soon. If you're watching this and you're interested in yoga plus anatomy, please go to experientialanatomy.yoga to stay in the loop. Mary, what do you think about this yoga myth, this image about two planes of glass for Utthita Trikonasana?
Break the glass. We are not dolls.
Okay.
Okay?
Say more.
First of all, the body is not unidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
We are at least 3 dimensions. And Trikonasana is not about a flat body.
Mm-hmm.
It is about embodying the stability of a pyramid,
Mm-hmm.
which is a profoundly stable structure. And this idea that we're somehow supposed to be flat and straight,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, has no place on the mat.
So talk to us a little bit, unpack the anatomy. What's going on with the femurs and the pelvis here? And is this a male-female thing? Is this maybe an idea we got from male Indian yoga teachers? Is it a different anatomy than what we have with our Western female pelvises?
I think, yes, you're onto something. I don't know exactly where this idea came from. All I know is that it's not good for the connective tissues of anyone's hips. Mm-hmm. Men have a larger margin of error than women do because of the shape of their pelvis. Mm-hmm. But the reality is practicing Trikonasana between 2 panes of glass or 2 walls or in a toaster, I've even heard that, is a short ticket to what's called an acetabular labral tear. So I actually have a shoulder model here, which has a labrum, and I just want to show you what a labrum looks like, and just know that the shoulder labrum is similar to a hip labrum, but of course they're different joints. Okay.
Yeah.
So you see this here?
Move it back maybe a tiny bit so it'll focus. Yeah, that's better. Okay.
So do you see this thick structure right in here?
Yeah, it almost looks like the center of an Oreo or something, like the middle part
Yeah, so it wraps. This is a really liberal shoulder presentation. So it wraps all around.
Yeah.
You see how it bridges between the shoulder blade and the arm bone?
It's this darker part.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we have those in our hips as well. Labrum from Latin means lip.
Okay.
And the function of the labrum, it forms a sleeve that deepens the joint so that there's more stability between the thigh bone and the hip bone. When we practice triangle pose, like Flat Stanley, between 2 panes of glass, it pushes, especially on your back hip, it pushes the heads of the thigh bones forward anteriorly against that labrum. And the labrum can tear. And it used to be until really the mid-90s that you really only saw labral tears in professional dancers, soccer players, and martial artists. But now there's an uptick of labral tears among yoga students and yoga teachers, yoga practitioners, because of these ideas that we're looking for straight lines in the body. What we want when we're practicing Trikonasana is we want to shelter the heads of the thigh bones in the joint cavity, not push them out of the body.
Right.
And we also don't want to break the energetic ring of the pelvis. You know, the pelvis is a basin, so we want to maintain the integrity of that structure. And by practicing in a very linear way, we're actually fracturing the energy of that basin.
Yeah, because one of the instructions that's kind of a co-instruction to this one about the between two panes of glass is often, I've been told to, let's say I'm doing it on the right, triangle pose, rotate my right hip out and my left hip out. So they're both supposed to go into external rotation so that I can become flat.
Yeah.
You wouldn't recommend that. Your face is not recommending that.
I weep inside. Okay, and let me just say that I had my right hip replaced on July 25th. And I tore my labrum practicing Trikonasana between panes of glass, and it ultimately cost me my hip. What? And so
I didn't know that was the beginning of your hip.
That was the beginning of the end.
Did you feel it in the moment when you were doing the pose?
I felt it go. I felt it tear. It was very painful.
You were pressing the hip back strongly.
And I was the poster child for practicing between panes of glass. I used to be brought up to the front of the class, look at this, and I would be complimented on it, which of course just egged me on, you know. Yeah. Because, well, it did.
And we're still working with healthy egos here.
Yeah. So if we want the body to move, we want the joint concavity. In this case, when we're talking about these panes of glass, we want the cave of the hip joint wrapping over and around the heads of the thigh bones. And when you try to shove yourself between those panes of glass, you're doing the exact opposite. You're doing the exact opposite. And anatomically, the thickest cartilage in your hip joint is at the back of the hip joint. So we want the heads of the femurs drawn back and into the body, which is the exact opposite effect that occurs when you practice Trikonasana between those panes of glass. So it may be too soon for this, but we may not have shattered the glass ceiling in the United States, but we can break the glass in Trikonasana.
We're still mourning. So, okay, my question is, what are the kinds of things, give us a couple of things you say to engender the alignment that you like from your students that helps them jump out of the idea of the panes of glass?
So first I look at their feet and I say, I'd like you to turn the toes of the front foot out slightly, no more than a big toe width. And then I say, take a look at your back foot. I'd like the back heel placed back farther than the toes. So from the feet, I'm setting up external rotation in the front hip and internal rotation in the back hip.
Okay, and then let me just wait. So if I'm doing it on the right, this is my, I don't know if I'm mirrored maybe in the video, but this is the front foot. My front foot is turned like this, and you're saying turn that foot slightly more out.
Yes.
Than perfectly parallel with the mat. And then you're saying the back foot, turn it also in slightly.
Bingo.
Okay.
And then I say, let your pelvis find its position. And inevitably what happens is everyone's pelvis is oriented in the same direction as their legs. And that's exactly what we want. And then we inhale and we bring the arms up. And then I say, now take that leap of Shraddha, that leap of faith, out over the front leg and bring your back hip with you. Let your sacrum glance down at the floor.
Like this.
Yes, because that's the sacrum, remember, is our rudder. So we want to start from the bottom up. And the reality is the lumbar spine in its entire length cumulatively only has about 6 degrees of rotation. Your lumbar spine doesn't turn. Yet there's an element of rotation in Trikonasana that occurs in the thoracic spine. So if we want to maximize rotation and reap the benefits of that rotation in Trikonasana, we want the pelvis oriented in the direction of the legs, so that we then have to rotate against gravity. Mm-hmm. To stimulate the organs and to reap those energetic rewards of the pose.
Mm-hmm. So you're not even thinking about twisting from the pelvis at all. You then focus it 100% on the thoracic spine.
Yes, because that's where the rotation occurs, and I actually want to create conditions of dynamic opposition mm-hmm. in the inner body so that we can clear the cobwebs out.
Mary, what I love is that any question I throw at you, I feel like you have such a fascinating and deeply grounded anatomical, physiological answer for me. So it's just such a pleasure working with you. I know that our experientialanatomy.yoga course is going to be so amazing for me as well as a teacher to just inject all of this anatomy knowledge into my brain. I can't wait to share it with people. So tell us where we can find you on the internet, more Mary Richards.
First, Lizzie, I have to say, I just adore you. And this is so meaningful to me because I've been in the yoga world for 25 years. And it's just lovely to pay forward 2.5 decades dedicated to study of yoga and anatomy and kinesiology and pathophysiology and pathoanatomy. And so thank you so much. And I can be found at maryrichardsyoga.com and at A Little Yoga Goes a Long Way on Facebook.
Okay, and Lizzie Lasater, Instagram, Facebook.com. You can find me. And once again, experientialanatomy.yoga. Go to that website, give us your email, find out about the course when it launches. And everyone on that list, we're going to, of course, give special pricing options to and all of our special deals next year. So 2017 is when it's all happening. Namaste, Mary.
Namaste, Lizzie.
Bye.